All right. In this video, I'm going to go over our screening tool within Advisor Tools, as well as some Zacks Strategy that is within this screening tab as well. The screening tool that we do have is separated for each of the different securities that we cover, equities, ETFs, and mutual funds. The functionality is fairly similar. I'll go through and mainly stick with the stock screener just as our main example, but we'll show you the ETF and mutual fund screener as well. Really the only difference is the different categories and items that we do have to cover within the screener. So really this screening tool that we provide on Advisor Tools is a great idea generator for any of the securities that we cover to really have a good starting point when you're looking to enter in key metrics that you look for when you're looking for a stock, ETF, or mutual fund, along with any of our different quantitative scores that we provide to really get a starting list of tickers to, from there, take those tickers and go into a little bit more in-depth analysis on. So just to get to this screener here, if you're on the home page here on the Watchlist monitor, if you hover over the screening tab here, it'll provide those different screeners. Like I said, they're separated between each of the securities that we cover, but the functionality is the same besides different items and categories that we provide. So you can just click on the stock screener. I'll stick with this example here. And this is what the screener looks like for all of them. On the left-hand side, you'll see the categories that we provide, and within those categories, we'll have different items as well. And if you're unsure of any of these particular items or ratios or metrics that we provide on the screener, these eyes right next to each of these different items, if you just hover over them, it'll provide a brief description, brief definition, or a range, whatever we put into each of these items or each of these ratios. The next sort of functionality that you'll see just next to any of these items is setting an item greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and so on for any of these different metrics, just when you're setting your specific criteria for your screen. And from there, you'll either have a section to enter in the specific number, or fill up a drop down for certain items or certain rankings that we have available for there. You'll see on the right hand side. And within these definitions, it'll provide sort of, instead of a percentage, it'll tell you if it's percent, so that way you can just enter in the number and not have to worry about that, or a specific range of numbers as well. So just going through this screen example, I'll put in sort of a regular screen that someone might use and just show you where to go from there in the functionality of this screen. So for the first item, we'll say that we want to find companies that Zacks has recommended as a buy. So we'll want to find all of the ones and twos. From there, we'll just drop down this box. We'll set it to less than or equal to 2. That way we'll see all of the ones and twos. And once we have our item selected and the range or criteria that we want for it, we can just select add here. You can only add one item at a time. And once that is added to your screen, it'll show up in this gray box here at the top within your criteria that you have, as well as the number of matches that would be currently in that screen. So since there's 875, we can add a few more items. We also, within the Zacks rank, we do have this Zacks industry rank, where it ranks all of the 264 industries that we do cover. So let's just say we want the top 10% of the Zacks industry ranks. So from there, we will set this one less than or equal to 26. That'll roughly be about 10% of the 200 or so. We can add that to the screen. As you see, it pops up at the top of the criteria. and you'll see the matches has dropped down as well. So from there, we can add a couple more items. As a complementary score to the Zacks rank, we have these different style scores, whether it be value, growth, momentum, scores, whatever someone might use as their overall investment process. For this example, we do have, with those style scores, is a VGM score here, which is sort of a combination of all of those different styles, value, growth, and momentum. This score is ranked on a school's grading scale, so A being the best, F being the worst. We can say we want to find all of the A's and B's, so we'll just set this to less than or equal to B. Click Add, and it'll show up there at the top of the criteria. We got it down to 47. So let's just say we want to add a mid-cap to large-cap company. So here you'll see that item. Come over the I, it'll provide sort of that range. So anything at $1 billion or higher is considered mid-cap to large-cap. So we can set this greater than or equal to 1,000. That was the range to $1 billion. Click Add. Brings it to 42. And we're just going to add one more item. Say we want to add a company that provides the dividends. So we can say greater than or equal to 1%. Click Add. And from there, we have a list of about 10. So from there, we can say we want to look at this screen, see what those 10 companies are. And once that is something that we do want to do, on the right-hand side of the bottom of that criteria box will be this Run Screen. If we click that button, it'll take us to this page where it provides the company, the ticker, and the criteria that we have put into this screen. There's a couple of different things that you can do from this list going forward. You can export these tickers to a list to create a watch list. You can export this list of criteria to Excel if you want to do sort of a further analysis outside of advisor tools. If you do want to come back and change the screen, whether it be adding a certain item or getting rid of a certain item to affect the 10 matches to change it to a different list, you can click this Edit Criteria tab. If you want to add certain items but not have it change the 10 matches here, you can come back and click Edit View. So say within the Zacks industry, we just want to see what industry those companies are in. If we click that Edit View button, it'll bring us back to this page. To find the industries, we can come down to this Company Information category. And instead of setting a certain metric greater than or equal to or less than or equal to something, it'll just offer a item checkbox. And whatever item that we select or put a check in front of, that will show up as a column once we add it and run the screen again. So we checked off industry. Say we want to check off the last close, the 52-week high, and the percentage change 52 weeks. So once we check off those and we're ready to see that list, we can run screen again. And here it will bring up those different items that we selected to have, as well as not affecting the final result of the screen. So it still shows those 10 matches there. From there, we can save this screen for the next time if we want to come back and update it and save this screen in the future. We can click this Save Screen tab here. And just for this example, we can just call it My Screen. And for the stock screener, you do have to put something in the short description. So you can usually just copy and paste, or if you want to put the criteria that you put in the screen there, you can put there. Click Save Screen. Ask you to save again. And so there it will be under the My Screen sections, and it'll be saved in Advisor Tools when we do want to come back to it. So we can say we log back out of the page and log back in. we can come back to that screening tool, Zacks Screener. And if we select this My Screens tab here, there we'll see the screens that we've created. We can run that screen to see if the list has changed. We can load the screen if we want to edit the criteria that goes into the list. And we can delete this screen if we don't want it or need it anymore. So as far as the functionality of the screener and some of the items in the stock screener, that's really what it does the most. Within the stock screener itself, the only difference is we do offer this predefined tab. So you can say that you might not know what criteria you want to put into a screen. This predefined tab has about 50 or so already created screens, given a title, a short description of what goes into the screen, and for any of these, you can run the screen if you want to see just a list that goes into it, or you can load the screen to see the certain criteria and maybe add to that criteria or not. So for this example, I can just click on it. It provides sort of the general criteria that we've put into this screen, as well as the current matches that are affected by that screen. So that within the stock screener is the only difference. And I can go over briefly just each of these ETFs screeners here. Same functionality as far as just different categories and different items that we provide for the ETF screener, as well as the mutual fund screener as well. So if you do have any more detailed questions on certain items that go into the stock screener, ETF screener, or mutual fund screener, please feel free to reach out to our Advisor Tools support line, and we're more than happy to answer any of your questions or set up a training call as well. The last section that I will go over is this Zacks Strategies section. This has been added to our screening category, and here you're able to view some of the most successful stock picking strategies that we've already made, often referenced in the Zacks commentary and reports, and previously only available using our Zacks standalone screener. So from here, you're able to choose through any of this different criteria, similar to the screening tool, but from here, you're able to choose a Zacks strategy. And you can choose a strategy, and what it provides is the detail of that screen, as well as once you do choose that strategy, it will also provide the criteria that went into that strategy. And here, it'll just bring up a quick view of the company, as well as some of the main points and criteria that goes into that strategy. From here, you can, if you do want to continue following this list, you can click create update to watchlist right up here. And if you do, for this example, if you click that, it will automatically create a watch list for you with the title of that screen. And you can just click OK and say we want to come back and monitor that. It'll just automatically populate it for you up top here with that title of that strategy. So you can continue to monitor this particular list. You could go back later and update it and re-add it as a watch list too if you wanted to update when it changes in a certain time frame. But just another idea generator. Maybe you don't know what criteria you want to go in your list, or maybe you follow something similar to these strategies. These can be a helpful tool as well to kind of get something started on what you're looking for in a particular security. So as far as the screening tab, that is basically it. And of course, if you do have any questions going forward, you can come under the support tab, click contact us, and this does provide our general Advisor Tools support line, as well as email account. If you reach out to any of these, we're more than happy to answer any of your questions and or set up a training call to go more in depth on the screener or Zacks strategies with you. So thank you very much, and hopefully